How's it going, y'all? My name is Reegan MacAulay, and welcome back to another episode of Hurricane Havoc. If you remember the title of episode 5, yeah, I could probably use that same title for this one because this past weekend for the Holland Hurricanes was filled with wins. Yes, there were a few losses, but the Hurricanes came out of the weekend out of 5 sports, 9 games, with 7 wins. From a perfect weekend of ACAA volleyball action to an ACHA women's hockey doubleheader sweep on the road, there's a lot of fun stuff to discuss in this episode. Before we get into each sport, let's quickly share some important news and information. Our new athletes of the week are women's volleyball third-year setter Ella Hickey and men's basketball second-year guard Zachary Dawkins. Between Holland's volleyball wins over the past weekend, Hickey scored 63 assists, 7 digs, 5 service aces, 5 kills, and 3 blocks against Dalhousie and Crandall. As for Dawkins, between a win and a loss, the Hurricanes rookie scored 32 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists, and 1 steal against UMBSJ and Mount Allison. We'll get into those specific games in just a little bit, but a huge congratulations to both Ella and Zachary on their incredible performances this past weekend. Don't forget to check out our recent video promotions and highlights, including some brilliant work from the athletics department and Greg Ellison to promote our teams in the upcoming ACAA basketball championships here in Charlottetown in March. And with that, let's dive into the recaps and the previews, beginning with women's volleyball. Holy moly, what a weekend it was for this team, from sweeping a close game at home, which, yes, that sounds kind of odd to say, but that's literally what happened, and an astonishing comeback on another team's home court. The team's run began on Saturday in Truro, Nova Scotia, as the Dalhousie Agricultural Campus Rams seek their first win against Holland after losing 3-1 at the McMillan Centre back in November. Although the Rams put up a good fight and kept all 3 sets close, the team just could not get on the level that Holland was on that day. Swapping leads back and forth, inconsistent momentum, both teams playing amazing offensively, but struggling defensively. Why did all that sound like it came from a Dr. Seuss book? On Sunday, the Canes wanted better than what was on paper the previous day, but it didn't exactly start off that way, as in a game against the Crandall University Chargers in Moncton, New Brunswick, Crandall was the stronger team at the beginning. Another game of inconsistent momentum, but the Chargers rightfully earned the first 2 sets. The team was 1 set win away from a massive upset by a team with only 4 wins after 12 games, so was Holland going to allow them to get away with it? Absolutely not. From there, the Canes brewed a storm with an explosive third set, winning by a blistering 17 points, a tight but still superior 4th set as well, and a thrilling 5th and final set with one of the biggest clutch performances you'll ever see from a volleyball team. Between both games, Jenna O'Neill and Morgan White dominated in the kills and digs categories, as per usual. The Canes improved to 8-6 and now carry a 2-game winning streak heading into the upcoming weekend. Catch the women back in action with a pair of home games at the McMillan Centre this weekend on Saturday, February 3rd and Sunday, February 4th at the McMillan Centre against the St. Thomas University Tommies and the Mount St. Vincent University Mystics. Against St. Thomas, Holland is 0-1, while against St. Vincent, this Sunday's game will be the first between the 2 teams. Saturday's game is at 2 p.m. and Sunday's game is at 12 p.m. Now moving on to men's volleyball, where the team also carries a winning streak, but it now sits at 3 thanks to a close 3-0 win against Crandall in Moncton this past Sunday. Points were traded back and forth for most of the game, but simultaneously, Holland maintained a close lead in all 3 sets. Holland won the first and second sets by a score of 25-18. Crandall attempted a comeback rally in the 3rd set while down 6-1, but the Canes stayed hot and held on to win 25-19. Dominic Pinot's 8 kills led the Hurricanes, with Carson Gray adding 7 kills plus 4 digs. The Canes improved to 7-4, now 6 points behind the league-leading USTA Dragons, and the men will join the women with their own version of a home game doubleheader at the McMillan Centre this Saturday and Sunday, but the biggest difference, both games are against the Tommies. St. Thomas has yet to beat Holland after 2 failed attempts, and so, can the Hurricanes get a 5-game winning streak this weekend? Find out on Saturday at 4 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. And remember, Saturday is Volleyball Alumni Day, where we invite all former Holland Hurricanes volleyball players to join us and Hurricanes fans and witness the current and future stars of Hurricanes volleyball. Now jumping over to basketball, where the women and the men both experienced similar fates in what were extremely chaotic games both at home and on the road. Beginning with the women's team, the Hurricanes started the weekend strong with a dominant 98-64 win over the University of New Brunswick St. John's Seawolves, a team that arrived riddled with injuries. Holland jumped out to a 13-4 lead, extended it to 26-12, led by 23 points at halftime, and never looked back the rest of the way, extending the winning streak to 3. Unfortunately, the streak was cut short by a better Mount Allison Mounties team, who welcomed the Hurricanes to Sackville, New Brunswick with zero mercy. The Canes did keep things close for the most part, but there was simply no momentum to get even a few points within the Mounties, who took the game 69-52. Between both games, Alexa Rancourt continued her offensive domination with 42 points, with Danielle McKinnon, Amy Plaganoff, and Molly Stedman contributing well to Holland's win against the Seawolves, but struggling against Mount Allison. The women hope to get back to winning with a home game at the McMillan Centre this Friday, February 2nd, as the Crandall University Chargers come to Charlottetown, eager to finally earn their first win of the season. Then there's the men's team, who look to achieve the unthinkable and win 5 games in a row, beginning with a fun fight against the UMBSJ Seawolves at the McMillan Centre on Saturday. The Canes started well with a 13-4 lead, but the Seawolves fought back to tie the score 23-23 during the second quarter. Not too long after, Holland went on a 10-point run and led by 12 at halftime, never looking back from there on out, winning the game 99-88. And then there was the Mount Allison match on Sunday, which I must say was one of the most inconsistent sporting games I have ever seen in a long time. Lead swap after lead swap after lead swap. In the first quarter, Holland did have the better end to the quarter though, and they did explode at the start of the second quarter, and then the Mounties came back. But then the Hurricanes jumped out in the third quarter, and then the Mounties came back again. Holland called 2 timeouts late in the game, but neither of them would be enough, and thus the Mounties held on 79-73, ending Holland's 4-game winning streak. Between both games, Bryce Corliss scored an overall 49 points, with other notable contributors including Aaron Simmons and rookie and male athlete of the week, Zachary Dawkins. The Canes improved, and I guess also dropped as well, if that's the way to put it, to 7-7, concluding the month of January with a 4-1 record. Catch the men in action this Friday night after the women, as they too play Crandall, who are 8-4 in men's basketball and are 1-1 against Holland so far this season. Plus, the game will be the first between the two teams here in Charlottetown, as the previous 2 were played over in Moncton, so at 8 p.m. this Friday, there's no better place to be than at the McMillan Centre for some thrilling ACAA basketball action. And lastly, we recap women's hockey, where the ACHA Hurricanes surprised their rivals in the Acadia University Axe women with a doubleheader sweep in Wolfville, Nova Scotia this past weekend. On Saturday, it was a pure goaltending duel, as outgoing veteran Emma Arsenault was a brick wall in net, stopping all 29 of Acadia's shots. It seemed like the game would end in a 0-0 tie, but no, veteran Jason McMillan had other plans in mind. 30 seconds remaining in the game, a shot from the blue line by her catches the Axe women goaltender off guard. Hurricanes win 1-0. On Sunday, it was a less than desirable start for Holland, as Acadia scored an early goal, but it would not ruin Emma Arsenault's confidence one bit, as she denied Acadia's 27 other shots and kept the players in front of her stress-free. They were certainly stress-free when the Axe women ran into penalty trouble in the second period, and within a 4-minute span, Holland took the lead just like that. Gabby McDonald scored off a behind-the-net pass from Gillis, and Madison Tingley ripped a slap shot from the blue line from the edge of the offensive zone. The Canes held on 2-1, improving their record to 4-1-1, while Acadia dropped to 3-2-1. The team will be off this upcoming weekend, but is set to return to action the next weekend on February 10th and 11th, so come back next week for more details on that. And with that, another episode of Hurricane Havoc comes to a close, and now you know what's happened recently and what's about to happen next. I'm your host, Reegan MacAulay, signing off. I will see you on the other side, and remember to fear the storm.